You're listening to the Sastra Spotlight podcast, real conversations with founders building from zero, hosted by Brodie redefining. Let's get into it. Welcome to Sastra Spotlight. Today we are spotlighting Addy, CEO and founder of Cashew. Addy, why don't you kick it off and tell us a bit about Cashew?
Of course, yeah. So Cashew uses AI in order to bring sophisticated consumer insight to any growing brand so that you can understand why people think the way that they do, what they think of your product, whatever the case may be.
Awesome. No, that's wicked. And tell us, how did you come up with Cashew? What was the pain point per se?
Yeah, so I spent about 12 years in the industry. So I started at a big market research company, and then I worked in the agency world as well. So I was serving massive companies like Apple and AT&T. But during my time there, I was always challenged with delivering these sophisticated insights to these companies in, a matter of days. We'd be briefed on something and we'd be expected to turn it around really, really fast. And there just weren't those platforms or tools that we could use in order to do that effectively. So we did that manually for years. And now with AI and this technology that we've built, we've really been able to kind of duplicate ourselves as consultants in research.
Tell us a bit more about the technology. So obviously AI is a broad term, right? Yeah. So how does your product kind of use AI?
Yeah, we get that a lot. Everybody's an AI company these days. So yeah, what we've really done is we've created a methodology database. So kind of like all the frameworks that we use as researchers, like how you ask the questions, the flow of those questions, and then also how you analyze the data. And that's all encapsulated in our software. And then the AI part is the LLMs that we use on top. So in order to deliver all of that information to the user.
So did you have an idea of the product initially and you wanted to build it from scratch, or did you have to change the way throughout?
Yeah, I love that question. We actually started with a mobile app. So we built a panel of people first who take surveys, and that was our original idea. And then from there, we kind of had like a glorified Survey Monkey where we connect directly to that mobile app audience. And then with the onset of AI and when we brought our CTO onto the team, we built the ultimate dream, was really like replicating our expertise as researchers, because we were just constantly being asked by clients, like, can you just write the questions for me? Can you write the report for me? And without this technology that we've now built, we really weren't able to do that. We had to do it all manually. So that was always the vision of like just replicating exactly what we did as researchers within the software.
Absolutely. And just to your point, so like a Survey Monkey, how would it be different? Because obviously a lot of people know Survey Monkey, right? And how does your product differentiate from a company like that?
Yeah, so even with Survey Monkey, it's meant to be very easy. You just go in there and write some survey questions and send them out to people. But market research is actually a discipline, to the same way that, you're a lawyer or you're a marketing specialist. Like there are certain types of rules and formulations that you follow in order to get good data. So with Survey Monkey, the problem is you're Brodie. Do you know how to write the best survey questions? Do you know how to write it in an unbiased way? The order of those questions? And then do you know how to put together a report in the end when you get all that data back? Probably not. So you're not going to get a lot of value out of that, right? So that's like the biggest pain point that we solved is you literally write in, I want to understand what people think of my brand compared to my competitors and where I could maybe uniquely position myself in the market. And we will formulate an entire survey brief as well as the survey itself, send it out to real people, and create a report for you all within a matter of days.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. And then, so you mentioned about sending it out to real people and stuff like that. How does it work? Do you have like a big group of people just waiting to receive these surveys, or kind of how does it work?
We do, actually. That's a good way to describe it. We call it a panel, but it really is a group of people who have downloaded our mobile app and agreed to receive surveys, and they get paid for their time. So on average, they make a few dollars per survey because it's a few minutes of their time. So you can kind of think of it as like a free latte a month or something like that. The experience itself is very engaging. They get a push notification when a survey that's tailored for them and their profile is ready. They complete the survey and it's submitted as a response. And that response is then aggregated into all the other ones for your report.
And then do you, after a while, will you be collating like a big database of all these kind of analytics and market insights? And then will you be able to kind of further develop and use those for companies that wanted to potentially launch a product or something else later down the line?
Yeah, that's definitely our dream, is to kind of pair secondary data with primary data. So primary data is talking directly to somebody, but then we could also integrate, market insights or insights from other studies that we've created. so that you can kind of pair those two things together, which we think would be extremely powerful down the line.
No, wicked. I've got to ask, tell me about the company name. Where does it come from?
So originally, actually, Cashew came from like Cash plus You with the mobile app that we created. Not as fun. But then we actually read about how cashews were produced, and when they're grown, they're actually poisonous. So
oh, wow. Okay.
you have to go through quite a bit of processing before you can actually eat them. And we like to pair that with data. So data isn't really valuable until it goes through kind of like the cashew process, which then makes it usable. So there's a nice kind of analogy there with the cashew nut. It's also the best nut.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit biased. I like pistachio, but
good. Yeah, that's true.
No, good stuff. That's awesome. I love it when a company name has like a story behind it. It makes it so much more relatable to the customer, right?
Totally, and easy to remember, right?
Exactly. Tell us about the vision for the company. Like, what are you currently working on? Like, where are you going in the next few years?
Yeah, so we're really focused on customers right now, of course. So we finished our AI product in February. So we launched it, got some initial beta customers, and now we have 26 subscription customers. And then from here, we're just kind of replicating that approach and really trying to scale into the US. We're also raising right now. So we've got about half of our raise complete. And yeah, it's kind of like a seed extension round. So looking for additional growth capital.
Awesome. And then after that, I mean, do you have a plan to build out different teams and different divisions?
Yeah, like we actually just unveiled a new feature at TechCrunch, which opens us up to the qualitative research market. So now we can get video responses from people and talk about, you know, the why kind of behind those perceptions, not just survey based. So that's a really exciting market. Also huge opportunity there to kind of scale those types of insights versus just doing them like 5 at a time. And then in addition to that, yeah, just really looking to expand out of just Canada. So the US is such a larger market for us. We've had a lot of success in food and beverage consumer brands, but want to expand to health and beauty, and other verticals that, you know, make sense within the consumer category. And then there's lots of opportunity in B2B as well. So we do have some B2B clients, and there's huge demand there.
No, awesome. Tell us a bit more about your customer base, and if you've got any use cases, that would be brilliant.
Yeah, I'll try to tell you like a customer story, I guess. I think it's like the best way to think about it is kind of putting yourself in our customers' shoes and why Cashew would be so helpful to them. So this pita chip brand called Cedar Valley Chips, they're expanding into the US, growing very, very quickly. And they've really made it big by getting into Costco. But getting into Costco is actually super nerve-wracking if you're a CPG brand, because they only have 4,000 SKUs in each of their warehouses. So it's super competitive. So if you don't sell right away, there's really no second chance. There's no second order. So you want your product to fly off the shelf. You want to do everything you can to get that right. So Cedar Valley worked with us at Cashew to test the messaging of their product, the packaging, and even then down to the name of the flavors and the product itself to ensure that it was going to resonate with a Texas Costco buyer. And by doing all of that work, they got into Costco and their sales have done so well. They're already going with a nationwide order with Costco after working with us.
Pretty impressive.
So that sort of story is kind of like how powerful research can be when used correctly, and just informing those decisions instead of just guessing and hoping, you know, that Costco presence is going to go well.
Yeah, I think it's definitely good because a lot of products, they just try and gun straight for retail, right? And they have no research, no analytics behind their product. So it's a massive risk. It could be like a massive cost in revenue for sure. Tell us, what's your kind of ICP at the moment? What are you kind of focusing on?
Yeah, our ICP right now is consumer brands. Usually we're working with like a director of marketing, VP of marketing at that brand, usually 10 million plus in annual revenue. We find that we're especially successful with somebody who's come from a large CPG like Johnson & Johnson or Unilever, and they're used to having that really powerful research from those really expensive consultancies. And now they're at the smaller company, still like a mid-sized brand, but they're reliant on those insights, and now they can't get them because nothing exists other than us. So when they meet us, they're like, oh my God, this is what I've been looking for. So it goes really well, and it's a pretty smooth sale because they, you know, have found this solution to that problem that they have.
I can see it will take off a lot, I think, because there's a lot of companies that will need this to get their products out there essentially, because they won't be able to just launch and then expect and spend all this money for weeks of consumer research.
Yeah.
I think it's a great product. How is it based? Is it a subscription-based model, or do people pay like a one-off fee?
Yeah, it is subscription. So you pay for the software at different tiers. So depending on the number of features that you want. So we offer a bunch of different advanced analytics, which is a higher tier, let's say. Also the amount of support you need. So if you're looking for like just email support or you want to jump on a call with somebody, that's kind of another differentiator. And then you add the survey completes on top. You buy the tier, and then anytime you want to do a study, you can buy a bundle of completes.
Lots of companies, they boast about real insights, and there's a lot in the market about synthetic data. How do you see this developing this industry?
It's a tough question, but I think the place for synthetic data, there definitely is one, but I don't think that it replicates the human thought pattern or human preferences. Like our perceptions of the world and how we make decisions, it's changing every single day. Like you can see it now, like when you use AI, there's just certain gaps, right? Like it doesn't think like a human, and it's not going to. So we are really passionate about amplifying the human voice, making sure that you have that pulse on your customer versus just making those inferences based on whatever you're asking ChatGPT. I think synthetic data could be really powerful, maybe if you need like a really large sample size for market validation and you do maybe a portion from like a cashew sample of humans and then you supplement maybe with synthetic data to round out that sample. But other than that, I think there's still such a place to speaking directly with humans.
Absolutely.
And you can't really predict from an AI profile whether or not someone's going to feel a certain way about your product or service or your campaign.
Absolutely. Do you think there'll be like a war between people that are trying to do the human side of AI and then the synthetic side, where there's people that just want to take away everyone's job essentially and just have this click one button and everything's done?
Maybe a war, or maybe, I don't know. I feel like I already see it on LinkedIn where it's like people are writing a post and like, I promise this isn't AI. I wrote this. And then you're like, okay, I'll read more. Or if you see a commercial or something creative where you're like, I can tell somebody actually did this. It wasn't AI. Now it stands out because it feels more human. And I think with all the AI, we're going to crave that human connection even more. And it's actually going to stand out as like a value prop. It's like, oh, do you actually use humans or do you use robots? But I think the perfect kind of mix of the two, like AI makes you so much more effective and efficient. We're using it in our platform. Obviously, we believe in it. But then paired with human expertise or the human perception, I think is what's super powerful because you still need that tweaking.
Absolutely, yeah. You need that tweaking. We can't be living in a world where everything's just coming from the same kind of script and everything like that. It's scary times at the moment.
Yeah, I was watching a video yesterday of a robot cleaning somebody's house, and I guess that's where we're at now.
Yeah, I mean, robots, God knows what else. Just wake up and stay in bed and everything's just one click of a button. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't even have to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy in San Fran, right? That you have the cars just driving around. Like back in the UK, we don't have that. So
yeah, we don't have it either.
Yeah. So do you plan on bringing over Cashew to the US like full time? Could you see yourself bringing the whole business here, or are you staying in Canada?
Probably like to stay in Canada. Love Canada. It's such a great place to live. Customers are a little bit more risk adverse, I would say, though. I definitely notice like the US mindset is they're willing to take risks, willing to experiment, innovate, try new tools. But I'm definitely open to like a head office in the US and being able to have, a real team here. I think that could be really powerful for us. But yeah, for now, definitely still have the presence in Canada and then, eventually have a presence here as well.
Absolutely. Just onto the team piece. So start a scale up or start a business. It's not for the faint hearted, right? So I work with a lot of founders and I'm always fascinated by how they hire and scale their teams. And how did you decide your first hire?
Love that question. It's so important. I'm noticing more and more how important that first hire was. Well, it was like the three of us. So me and my co-founder, and then our head of growth, Waleed, joined us really, really early on. So we kind of think of ourselves as like a 3-pack. And then our first hire was our CTO. I worked with him at my previous agency career, so I had a lot of confidence in him already. We had a personal relationship, so I knew him on that level as well. I kind of knew how talented he was as an engineer. And once I told him about Cashew, I could see like the light in his eyes. Like he was just so passionate because he saw the value of research when we were at the agency together. And I think just finding people that have that drive, that passion that's relentless. It's not just like a sparkly object that they're just going to get over in a few months' time and that are motivated by that more than just like financial gain. So someone that's really open to, being resilient, going through the challenges, the ebbs and flows, the good times and the bad, to really stick it out for really it has to be at least 5 years is what we were looking for. And, thankfully it has worked out and it is working out. But I think sometimes when you're hiring talent that they need to build something pretty incredible, they might come with a high price tag. And sometimes I think it's a bit of a red flag though, where if they're just looking for a really high salary, then they're going to find another high salary somewhere else, right? So they need to believe in the product and be willing to really do whatever it takes to make sure that it's a home run. And that's what we really look for in all our team members. They wear so many different hats. It's not like, oh, you're a sales rep. It's like, no, you're actually a marketing coordinator, and you're a customer success person. Even our engineers, they could sell their product because they speak so well to customers, and are super passionate about it. So that's really what we look for, is that resilience and that passion for the problem we're solving.
No, I love that. So we have a saying that we've got to find that startup gene in someone, right? And it's like, how do you qualify that? And a lot of founders find it hard to qualify that because I know they're still doing founder-led sales, for example. They're busy, right? That's where we can assist and we can really drill and find this startup DNA. But yeah, wearing multiple hats and everything like that, it's almost desired in the market to find people like this because not everyone has it.
Yeah, you almost have to be entrepreneurial yourself, even if you're part of the team and you're maybe not the founding person, but you still need to be entrepreneurial because in essence you are acting as an entrepreneur, because you have to create little kind of organizations within the organization, because you're the one that's creating the marketing department or creating the sales department, because it's really from the ground up.
Yeah, and it's building out those processes, right, and getting everything in place and getting that engine working as one. And obviously if you're bringing in people like those higher salaries from larger companies, they're just not getting that.
Yeah, they're used to things being done for them.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing too. It's are you open to creating this process and creating a new way of doing things versus just, following a process that maybe someone else created?
You mentioned investment. What's important for you when you're seeking investment and looking for the right VC, essentially?
I'd say someone who truly understands what we're doing. I think it can be dismissed very quickly, oh, there's SurveyMonkey already, or there's Qualtrics, and what do you bring to the table? They really understand that unique differentiator and our expertise in the category. And then outside of that, I think someone who values collecting human insight versus just synthetic data or everything done by AI, and who understands that in the marketing space, especially connections to marketers at the fit RICP profile is a huge win. Who are open to following on in subsequent rounds. That's also another one. We'd also love to have more female representation as investors. We have one angel investor who's a woman, and she's also our fractional CFO. But awesome. It's tough to find women investors, which is crazy, but that's kind of where we're at right now. It's tough to make those connections, so that's something we're definitely looking for in this round.
I think that's definitely a trend at the moment of a lot of women trying to get into VC and start their own communities and groups around this, because like you said, it is lacking in the industry. I think in terms of the growth that you're seeing in the industry, do you think that in 5 or 10 years that people will just be able to launch a product softly and get true customer insights without actually launching it in anywhere?
Yeah, interesting question. I think that what we envision is just that it would be so easy to do that why wouldn't you? It's affordable and it's easy. So yeah, why wouldn't you just test it out first and then launch your real product? There's a lot of challenges to do that today, obviously, with existing tools and existing processes in research. So our dream is just okay, well, why wouldn't I do some research? Because it's just so easy to do that. And then in terms of our industry and where it's headed, I've been in it since I was just coming out of university, calling people on the phone, asking them to do a survey with me, down to, manually creating PowerPoint charts just a few years ago. And now everything has really taken off, and a lot of that manual work, that tedious data entry, it's just not really needed anymore because of AI. There's so many of these processes that we do over and over again. And it's perfect for AI and, that data synthesis that we can now do. So it seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just on that, companies spend months, weeks, years, sometimes building campaigns, right? Just to launch it, and then they won't get much out of it. So it's definitely insightful that they could potentially do that without spending all that time.
Yeah, we all know all the disastrous campaigns that have gone out, there's when Kendall Jenner did that Pepsi commercial, I don't know, and it rubbed everyone the wrong way. Could have tested that better.
Yeah.
You probably understand what people's impressions would have been, or rebrands that have happened that just have totally missed the mark and affected company sales. So yeah, it's a process that all these big companies do. And that we really want to open up to those smaller companies, growing companies.
Just on that, do you think that once we get to that stage that we're going to lose that genuine customer reaction to a launch of a product or a new feature or something? Because it could be almost a shock to that consumer, right? When they see that launch, they're like, maybe I will become a consumer of this. Do you think that we might get to a stage where it's going round in like one big loop, do you think? Because if you did, for example, say campaigns and stuff that have gone wrong, you're getting that true kind of reaction, right?
Well, I mean, it is a big problem in our space. So like often you do see impressions are 15 to 20 points higher in a survey. Like people are just more likely to be favorable into whatever is being tested, because as a respondent, you have to reach the status quo, or you don't want to ruffle feathers or, say the wrong thing, versus in real life, it's your raw reaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that is a concern, but I think with, again, technology and AI, we'll be able to get at people's underlying feelings about something, by measuring not only what they're saying, but also the inflection of their voice, how quickly they're talking. That signals to us like they're hesitant. They say they like it, but there's something missing there. Or the speed at which they respond to something is also very telling in terms of how they actually feel.
Mm-hmm.
So again, with technology, you should be able to uncover some of those genuine impressions about something that you're testing, which should really mimic what's going to happen.
Yeah. No, look, Addy, it's been a pleasure. I always wrap these conversations up with questions. So what's one piece of advice since being a founder would you give to other founders that you wish you did yourself?
I'd go back to kind of like that passion and resilience piece. Don't take on something that you're not super passionate about to the point where you're going to be told no so many times. You're going to be told that you're an idiot, or you're not doing the right thing, you're not following the right process, or that you're never going to be successful, like more than you can even imagine. So unless you're so passionate about getting that right and creating that solution, you won't be able to stick it out to get to the end, or, whatever we're all working towards. So I would say like knowing that going in, that it's not going to be a quick win, no matter how amazing AI is and how fast you can build something, there's still so much of that, really that human condition that you have to battle against, because people want to say no to you. And without that, fire to keep going and just keep persevering through, it's going to be really tough. So just ensuring that whatever that thing is that you're building, like you truly believe in it, and it might evolve, it might grow and change and pivot, but if underlying, that motivation to do it is still there and you have that passion, that's going to keep you going. But it's not for the faint of heart. And
yes.
Yeah, definitely have to have that thing we were talking about, I guess, when you're looking for employees.
Absolutely. Yeah. Passion drives outcomes. So no, completely agree with that. Pleasure, Addy. Enjoy the rest of your tech crunch.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in. Follow us along for another spotlight next week.